Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I have the most exciting guests here. I think you all know I've been waiting for a month for you two to come, so we finally got here. This is Lance and Tamara Jackson. They are from Kingsgate Ranch, which is a ranch in Kingsburg, California, which is about 3 hours south. And when I moved in here, I did a little tour, right? And you saw my fruit trees.
I did.
And you volunteered Lance's time and expertise for fruit trees to come and help me out. And as soon as I got the email, I was like, please come. Because I know nothing about fruit trees. I do not know what to do. You know, I don't know how to prune them. I just don't want to mess them up.
Yeah.
So Lance, you taught pruning. You were the pruning instructor for FFA?
Yeah, so I coached the pruning team at our local high school for, I don't know, it's like 3 or 4 years, and did a state championship. And
say that again. Say that again.
State championship for fruit tree pruning.
So he coached a team that got state championship. So when I say the experts are here, I mean the experts are here. And now I have their number and their email, so I can bug them all the time.
And please do.
Thank you.
Please do. Please do.
So we took a little walk around the orchard already. You took a little look at my my trees, you know, and a little bit of advice. So we'll take you guys around and show you what Lance thought. And then I asked him if he could give us a little pruning demonstration, kind of like what you would teach as a coach for pruning, just for those of us who really don't know anything at all. Let's just start here with this mess of trees. So this is an interesting, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the fruit tree seller.
Dave Wilson.
Dave Wilson.
Dave Wilson.
So this was a Dave Wilson, who is a fruit tree seller, idea of putting, if you guys can see, there's 4 different stone fruit trees right there. I was kind of iffy about this. Lance, what do you think about this? Be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Okay. And why?
The tree architecture is not right. I mean, for growing fruit trees.
Yeah.
I mean, the trees are too close together for one, and these trees in particular are suffering from.
They're not looking good.
Yeah, they're not looking good. The gum spots here. So there's definitely an infection present.
So the gum spots indicate cue to you that there's something that's sick.
We call it, super clever, we call it gummosis.
Gummosis. Okay.
But it can be any number of pathogenic infections in the tree, and they usually result in the tree dying.
Okay.
Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, probably by the year after that, depending on the severity of the infection.
Okay.
So I would do a preemptive strike and get rid of them, and plant some legit trees, where we can create a tree architecture. The way they created this was what would be called a central leader tree. So it's a single main scaffold with these fruiting branches coming off. So if this tree was healthy, you would probably get, at this size, 20 pieces or 30 pieces of fruit.
I think I got 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
If everything was perfect. And so, so that's,
Yeah. I wasn't totally gung-ho about this whole setup anyway.
It's not when I first saw this, was like, what?
Yeah.
What? How, who? So
that's what I got.
And then I heard it was the nursery had promoted this, and I know the nursery. I work with the nursery. We buy a lot of trees from that nursery from Wilson, and I don't know who the retail guys are, but the commercial guys would be like laughing at this. So,
that's good to hear, right? Because there's a lot of ideas and fun trials and stuff like that. For instance, this white PVC pipe right there, that I was told was for the aeration and the watering to the roots, and that's been debunked that's not valid. So,
there's a lot better ways to aerate your soil, and definitely better ways to irrigate. So it's not that would, I don't know.
So whoever lived here before and installed this, whoever it was, whether it was the previous owner or before that, they liked the new trendy stuff, it seems like, that hasn't lasted for that long.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. So I will plan on taking these out. What would you replace these with?
So, if you want to keep peaches and nectarines,
Well, I want some.
so peaches, if you can find them. I mean, the old standbys are the O. Henry and the Alberta.
Okay.
Those are they're sweet. They're old school peaches.
Are they easy to grow for home
They're
gardeners?
easy to grow.
Okay.
They're easy to grow.
They're freestone too.
Yeah, they're freestone. Now, we grow a lot of cling peaches for the cannery.
Yeah.
And I'm partial to those. I think all the cling peaches taste better than all the freestone peaches.
Interesting.
But they are a little bit more work to eat. But that's about it. I mean, growing them is the same. So,
Right.
so there's a couple varieties of cling peaches that I would recommend. I would say the Ross cling peach.
Ross? Okay.
And probably the Calaveras.
Okay.
So that's one that comes off early in the season, one that comes off later in the season. And then if the Alberta and the O. Henrys are later in the season also.
Okay.
As far as nectarines go, there's a nectarine called the Honeylicious.
Honeylicious.
Really,
which is
really.
incredible.
That sounds
It is incredible.
delicious.
It is
really, really good.
I might have to get that one just for the name.
Right?
It's a really we'll get them as bare root trees and plant them in the wintertime.
Do you think that's better to plant?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Potted trees, we've done both. Potted trees are the advantage to potted trees, you can plant them whenever you want.
Okay.
The disadvantage to potted trees is they're typically weaker when you get them.
Okay.
You're going to shock them when you put them in the ground. You got issues. They need more attention when you get them in the ground because they're growing, and you don't want there to be a dip in their growth.
Okay.
Which there will be if you're not super attentive to where you plant them, and make sure you have adequate moisture and you keep up with the fertilizer so you don't get a dip, because they will die. I mean, easily. Because they're tiny. They're really tiny when you get them.
So it's just more foolproof just to plant a bare root.
Yeah.
And like what time of year? Like January?
January, February.
Okay.
We've planted bare root trees as late as March.
Oh, okay.
It depends. When the nurseries have them available, they'll dig them out and then they bundle them, and then we get them and stick them in the ground.
Okay.
And then just make sure we have adequate soil moisture. And then when spring comes, you'll see them. They'll start to push. And
okay.
And it's actually not very complicated. Says
the expert.
It's really not. It's not really complicated. It's just there's certain things you have to do at certain times.
Yeah.
And as long as you do those things, then everything's cool.
So just as a little background for everybody, just so they know how much of an expert you guys are, you grow how many tons of peaches per year?
This year we had about 2,000 tons of
2,000 tons, and how many peaches are in a ton?
About 6,000.
Yeah, so that's a lot. And you do some that you automatically sell to markets, right?
Right. We have
through providers and stuff.
Yeah. So the 2,000 tons went to the cannery.
Okay.
So they went to PCP Cannery in Lodi.
Okay.
And they were put
peaches.
into either little cans or little cups. And if you bought organic canned peaches,
you grew those
in pretty much wherever in the U.S., the odds are about 7 out of 10 that they came from our ranch.
I love that. I'm gonna go buy some.
So
Say, I know who grew these.
So that's kind of cool.
So the canned peaches you're saying can be the what's the opposite of freestone peaches?
Clings.
Yeah.
So you're saying canned can be clings, right? But then other people like eating the freestone peaches a little bit better
because they're easier. Because when you don't have to deal with the pit. So the clings, you can deal with the pit, but they're so much better they're better for cooking. They're better for pies.
They're more firm.
Okay.
And so they have a little bit different texture than freestone. They're not, they're never mushy.
Okay.
So it just depends on what you like.
Yeah.
But I love to cook with the clings.
Yeah.
She just makes me peel them.
Yeah, I make him peel them.
Smart girl.
And I cook, I put them in savory dishes or sweet dishes or bake or whatever.
You have savory
Oh yeah.
stone fruit dishes?
Oh yeah.
Recipes?
Yeah.
Please share them.
I will, for sure.
Okay, so this guy's coming out. I think I'm gonna replace it with a Honeylicious nectarine.
Yes.
I mean, right?
It's my favorite.
Get the nectarine and get a couple peaches here.
Like, how many trees do you think I could fit in this space?
Well, I wouldn't plant them any closer than 10 feet.
Okay, so just one.
So I would put one and then 10 feet away another one.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we do commercially.
Yeah.
We're down the row, we're at least 10 feet apart.
Okay.
And that you can get around the tree, there's sufficient light for the tree. And so...
but I gotta leave room for plants and stuff.
Well, yeah, so you can...
Yeah.
and we'd probably, in this setting, we'd probably grow the tree in a little bit different architecture than so when we grow in a commercial orchard, we bring them up like this. So there's 4 scaffolds that come out like this. And then we have, the fruit is on the outside of all 4 of the scaffolds.
Okay.
Whereas a tree like this that would be by itself,
yeah,
we grow more like a vase.
Okay.
So we'd have 5, maybe 6 scaffolds coming up.
Up from the main trunk.
Coming up from the main trunk, yeah. And then you'd make like almost like a bowl.
Okay.
And because you have area and you have light, and you're not worried about the density of the orchard. So you got one tree. So you would
prune the tree to look more like a bowl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And have 5, whatever, 5 of the, what do you call them? Leaders?
Scaffolds.
Scaffolds, excuse me.
Scaffolds.
Yeah. Okay. So. And then when do you normally prune?
The winter time, okay, so what we do is we usually prune one time in the spring. When we have fruit on the tree, we prune one time just because shade is your enemy. Yeah. With fruit trees.
Right.
So shade is what kills everything down low. All this stuff, if you have too much shade, will all just dry up and you'll end up with stuff that looks like this.
Okay.
And that's dead.
So if you see that on your fruit tree, on your stone fruit tree, and
if it's down low, it means it's not getting enough light. So what we try to keep in mind is that your tree, this is your solar panels. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is your solar system, and that's where all your energy comes from. And so if your solar panels are shaded, you're not creating energy. If you're not creating energy, your tree's not going to grow. Okay. Your fruit's not going to grow. You're gonna, and it will eventually die. Okay. So we try to keep as much light. It doesn't have to be like direct light, but filtered light. On the hitting the floor. Like if you look over here, see how you see this? Okay, so these light patches that are coming through the tree. Yeah. So that's what you want to see. That means you're getting light through the tree. Got it. Okay, because if it's on the ground,
if it was all shady, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's one of the easy ways to look down. Like for me, when I look down a row, if we're not pruning correctly, or if it's time to get in there, is when I don't see this mottled light on the orchard floor. Time to do something.
Interesting. Is that for all fruit trees or just stone? It's all fruit trees?
Well, I mean, we do it for our peaches, nectarines, cherries.
Okay. So if my orange tree
is that's a different guy. Okay. That's a different guy right there.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
But as far as
I'm sitting here thinking like,
no, it's because the evergreen trees are working different than the deciduous fruit trees, peach, plum, nectarine, apricot. They're much more sensitive to light. Okay. And the way that they fruit and the way that the trees grow. Okay. And you can't, you have to have better light penetration. The orange tree will, because everything's on the outside anyway, it figures itself out. Yeah, it's not nearly the issue that it is with these.
What's your take on like peach leaf curl? Do you guys deal with that a lot?
We do. So if you're not organic, leaf curl is easily controlled. There's a bunch of fungicide materials out there that can knock it down in a second. If you are organic, there's a combination material that we have used in the past with it's actually hydrated lime and sulfur.
Oh, interesting.
Or you plant varieties that aren't very susceptible to it. Right. which is what we do mostly. Yeah. But we do get areas where we have it, and usually what happens is, so another component of raising fruit trees is that you have to thin the fruit. Okay. Right? So if you get, say, for example, I'm just going to cut this off because we're getting rid of these anyway. Yeah. So say next year you have this you'll have fruit on this. So you'd have say you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of fruit on this after bloom.
Right.
So you're going to want to take it down to a hanger. This is called a hanger. This size would support probably 3 pieces.
Oh.
So you'd have 1 piece here, 1 piece there, and 1 piece there.
Okay.
So about 4 or 5 inches apart. I mean, that's how we usually gauge it in the field.
Is put your hand.
Put your hand. So here.
Okay.
So 1 there, and then 1 there, and then 1 here.
Okay.
And the rest of those have to come off.
Okay.
Okay. So when we're doing that,
yeah,
if you see leaf curl, because it looks like a big like lettuce or
and it starts on the ends, right?
Right. So it's all in new growth. We just break it off.
Oh.
Throw it on the ground.
And that works.
Done.
Dang.
So
okay.
So if we get into a field where there's leaf curl, then we just snap that junk off and it hits the ground and
it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good to know. You just want to stay on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So say this again. This is a hanger.
Yeah. These are what we refer to as hangers.
So hanger.
So these are hangers because that's where the fruit is going to be.
This is a scaffold.
This would be okay.
I know this is a horrible example.
So this is what we would call this in this horrible example. This central leader, this is a central leader type tree. So we would call this, for lack of anything else, a scaffold.
Okay.
These would be called either fruiting arms or fruiting stations.
Okay.
Because that's where your fruit is coming out from. This right here, this dude is a sucker.
Oh.
Because he's growing straight up.
Okay.
And it's all rank growth. You can see these buds have shot smaller shoots, whereas the actual, if you look at like an actual hanger like these buds are fruiting buds.
Okay.
Okay.
I always have a hard time distinguishing.
If it's growing straight up, the likelihood of it being a sucker is very high.
Oh. And you want to cut the suckers back because they are stealing the energy from the tree.
Right. And light. So if you have a light issue here, okay, so I'm going to go in the spring and I'm going to cut this sucker back. And then I just created that much more light. Totally. To here.
Yeah.
So,
I always feel like the suckers almost remind me of rose bush suckers.
Yeah, same
kind
thing.
of the way they're...
Yeah.
They just look odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you're familiar with a rosebud sucker...
Yeah.
And you kind of look for that, you can kind of tell,
okay.
You associate the same look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so here's a little fun fact, right? Pruning. So when I cut this back, I didn't cut it back all the way to the old growth.
Right.
Because one, if this dries back or it gets infection, then it won't go all the way back to
so you're protecting the main tree.
Also, this is cut on an angle. Whenever you're pruning, always cut on an angle.
Okay. Why?
Because if you cut flat, then you can get water standing there from dew or what have you.
Yeah.
And it can create infection. You can actually kill the scaffold.
So even on suckers, you want to cut on an angle.
Everything gets cut on an angle.
Okay. And leaving that much?
Well, that's for a sucker, that's what I would do.
Okay.
But in the wintertime when we're cutting, say, let's just do this.
Do what you need to do.
We're gonna pretend
that tree's coming out.
Okay, we're gonna take the leaves off so we can see what we're doing here. We're gonna pretend that it's wintertime.
Okay. So it's winter.
It's winter. We got all
it's cold.
It's cold. Leaves are off the trees.
Right.
We want to prune this so that we have fruit.
Okay.
For next year, not too much and not too little.
Okay.
So we're gonna call this was our fruiting arm.
Okay.
Basically, we have this fruiting stations. We have this this arm and this arm coming out, and this one coming up, which is kind of weird.
Okay.
So
basically 3 arms coming out.
Right. So if this was, say this was a mid-season, if this was a mid-season peach, what we would do is, without getting into all the math that goes behind how we prune, to say, okay, well, I need to thin all this out because this is just all crazy.
Right.
And so, whenever you're pruning, you always want to say, okay, you want to know, you don't just cut to cut, right? You cut, you got to have a reason why you're cutting.
Okay.
So, like,
how do you know your reason?
Well, I taught the kids to say well, like, okay, I'm cutting this because of this, and the reasons you want to prune, you want to prune to adjust the crop load, you want to prune for light,
okay,
and you want to prune for creating space between the fruit, so you don't have fruit on top of fruit or real close to other fruit, because
rubbing
that's
against each other.
right, because that's where you get infection and
right,
and issues. So, like in this particular instance, and you want the fruit to be lateral. You don't want it growing. You know, you don't want them up here. Higher quality fruit off of these laterals. So, like for example, this, I say, okay, I'm going to cut here.
Okay.
Because I don't want fruit up there.
You don't want a vertical
right.
stem.
Right.
Or what's the proper word? Vertical.
Hanger.
Hanger.
Okay. So now I have these 2 fruiting spurs here.
Okay.
Or shoots.
Okay.
Okay, so then kind of the same thing here. I don't want these going up. I've got plenty of other wood to pick from. So I'm going to cut this off altogether.
Interesting. Okay.
So now, because I want the fruit flat, I want it out here where it's going to hang down, okay, versus up here
go straight
where
up.
it could break.
Okay. Interesting.
So now here we have this is pretty small.
Right.
So if we did like we had talked about spacing the fruit out, so if we went 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now we have 6 pieces of fruit.
It'd be too
they could
heavy.
be hanging on this, too heavy.
Yeah.
So it's, well, you know, this is kind of a weak, wimpy hanger. So I'm going to cut this off, because when you cut back, I mean, the closer you can get back to the tree, the better off you are. In that, just typically it's healthier.
Okay.
Healthier wood, healthier. It produces better fruit because it's not way out on the end. Everything doesn't have to go so far.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to cut this off.
You're going to cut that off simply because you think it's going to be too heavy.
You need to lighten the crop load.
Okay.
Okay.
See, I'm learning from you. I'm thinking of why we're making each cut.
And you can see too, now when you make cuts, so you don't want to cut absolutely flush. Okay. So if you cut this, like say for example, if I cut this, I can't even get to it.
Can't even do it. Here, let me hold it.
But if I cut this absolutely flush like this,
that's called a flush cut, right?
Yeah, and I don't like doing that because the back side of the pruning shear, the hook part of the pruning shear, digs in right here.
Okay.
And it can open up a wound.
Okay.
On your cambium layer of the
cambium layer is the protection layer for the tree, right?
Well, it's your conductive layer. It's where it's where the food goes.
Okay.
The food travels through there. So when you damage that, then you're damaging food transport.
Right.
So I always try to leave, you know what I tell a guy, like this cut here.
Yeah.
That's, you know, roughly a 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so you leave a 1/4 inch on each pruning cut,
Right.
and you have an angled cut for each pruning cut that you do.
Right.
So the reasons that you're going to prune, you don't want verticals.
Right.
You don't want too much weight on a weak stem, and you want light.
Right. And you want to try to minimize, like in this instance here. So say these 2 guys, now this is, I mean, it's a poor example, but it's what we got. So we have a node here. We don't want 2 fruiting hangers coming off the same node.
Okay.
Okay. The tree has a harder time supporting it, and you end up with 2 marginal fruiting, you know, you might end up with 2 or 3 marginal fruit versus 2 good fruit.
Okay. Got it.
So leave the 1.
Okay, so for each node has to have just 1.
Yeah, so it's like these all are singles. These little guys that pop up every once in a while, what I usually do, well, what they can do is they can make a flower and then make a fruit. And it's going to be right here, and it's going to be super tight to everything else.
Yeah.
This one's going to do the same thing. It's going to be super tight to everything else. This is going to do the same thing. It's going to be super tight. So we just break them off.
Oh, goodness.
And those are done.
Brutal.
Yeah. And then now these 2, okay.
They're crossing.
They're crossing. Okay. I don't like having hangers come off the bottom side of the scaffold because they can break. They're typically more shaded, and so they're not going to produce as good a quality fruit.
So you might as well take the bottom one off.
This guy off. Okay, probably a little bit closer than that. Very hard to kill a tree pruning.
Okay.
Very hard.
That makes me feel a little bit better, not totally better. I'm still nervous about it. I mean, they're going anyway, so this could be my practice one.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a couple questions about, like, say, my orange tree?
Sure. Yeah.
So I would like to prune this up because it's, you know, it's kind of like a an umbrella. Is that okay for it?
Yeah, the orange trees are like super resilient. They don't care.
They don't.
I mean, you know, you can go through and just whack them.
It doesn't.
Basically.
It's not like fine.
Yeah, you don't have
pruning.
to. I mean, you could go through like a hedge trimmer.
Oh.
I mean, basically, I mean, you just start chopping.
Okay.
And you can just chop your way.
And it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I mean,
so I can
this
lift
is not
this up.
this is not the best tool for that because there's a million cuts, but
yeah.
But you could make, you know, you can make these big cuts.
Yeah. I mean, look how much better that looks already.
And
look at that. Isn't that better?
Yeah.
see,
It's more aesthetically pleasing.
Right? I completely agree.
And it looks more like a home garden.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
Yeah.
I've been like itching to
Put
do
a little
this.
bench or
Wouldn't that be
something
nice?
you can enjoy the shade when you're out here.
Oh
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
anything like that, you just start
That looks
Start
1,000
plowing
times
around.
better already.
So-
Literally, when you guys leave, I am
smells
doing
good
it.
too. They smell good when you cut them. I mean, this
And then you were telling me that I should probably trim up my pomegranate. Is that right?
yes. So the pomegranate will grow as a bush.
Yeah.
Will grow as a tree. It doesn't care.
But you guys grow pomegranates, right?
Yes, and what we're growing them with a main trunk. So like these little guys, all this sucker growth that's coming up.
Oh, look at. Oh my gosh.
A lot of this, and watch out because these things have spines like crazy. But see, you can thin this out, so maybe you have a less.
So that's like a multi-trunk.
Right, and it's okay if you have multiple trunks, but you want to get them, you know, get this stuff off on the bottom out of here.
Cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, so
I think that'll make it look nicer.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And so this one, you're not trimming it, you're not doing flush cuts.
Yeah, I'm not, right.
Or you don't?
I try not to flush cut anything.
Okay.
You know, sometimes when I'm going after suckers down on the bottom,
Yeah.
you want to try to cut those close because you don't want them to come back.
Okay.
And especially on pomegranate because they're not as sensitive
Okay.
to the pruning wounds.
Okay.
And I'm afraid of putting my hands in there
Yeah,
because of the
please don't.
spines.
Please don't. Okay.
But then
What about that? You were going to ask me about that.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about this guy right here.
Oh. Yeah,
So
on
this
your
is
citrus,
my other citrus tree.
So-
And then Lance was looking at this guy, which I thought was just a new branch.
right, so that's a sucker.
Interesting. I didn't even
And
know
why
orange
it's
trees had
growing
suckers
down,
like that.
I don't know, but you want to get rid of him. Oh,
Okay.
I think, well, maybe he broke.
Oh, look at those ants.
Yeah,
Oh. I know you guys can't see it here.
the ants.
Look at that.
Now see, but like this right here is a sucker too.
Oh my goodness.
So watch out for the spines on that thing. Now see, a lot of this stuff, you can cut this stuff out because all this is all sucker growth.
So this needs attention, this tree.
Yeah.
Gosh, that looks better already. It's nice just to see you do this because it just, I don't know, it gives me the confidence to come in here and do it.
See all of these coming up because you've
Yeah.
already got, the tree's already established, so you don't need scaffolds.
Right.
So you can come through and cut this stuff that's growing up through the middle.
Okay.
Get out of there. And then that just cleans up the trunks.
Yeah.
You know, aesthetically, it's a lot prettier.
100%. I'm gonna come and
You know,
I
and
can
then,
come on
and
up.
then you hedge these up, and then it
Yeah.
it'll look
I'm
nice.
just gonna
And
do
you
that
get to
whole
see
thing.
the nice trunk and
Mm-hmm.
the lines. And, yeah.
Yeah.
Make this place look pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question, Lance. My lime tree over here. Actually, I have two more questions.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. So these are all suckers down
Yeah.
here at the bottom?
Cut it all off.
That all needs to be cut off.
Yep.
Okay.
These-
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, all this stuff
I
can
got
come
some
off.
work to do.
Yeah.
And you don't want suckers again because they're taking the energy away from the tree.
Right. And
Interesting.
cut these guys down as low as you can get them.
Okay.
You'll find the source is usually.
There we go.
Look how long that was. That was way up there.
Like up to there.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you can get
Goodness.
rid of these guys. Oh, there's a ladybug.
Oh,
Right
good.
there.
Be careful with it. That's my third ladybug.
Oh.
Okay, my last question. I know I've been holding you hostage for a while.
No.
I want you to look at these two trees over here and let me know what you think. And again, be honest, right? Okay, I have these two trees here. I don't know at all what they are.
Okay, so this is an apricot.
Okay.
He looks pretty healthy.
Okay.
I get rid of this. Get rid of all the.
Yeah, I don't
Get rid
know.
of all this training apparatus. I don't know.
They did so many, like, so much scaffolding on everything.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like they were really afraid that the trees were going to fall over.
Yeah, I don't know. They were trying to create. See, in this, one thing you want to watch, like on an apricot tree, because apricots are pretty sensitive to sun.
Okay.
So you don't want to leave. They don't want to be unprotected like this. So like, when this got cut, and this got pulled out, well, I just opened this whole scaffold up to direct sunlight.
Right.
Much better to be like this and have some little shoots growing up here. So
you want to protect an apricot tree from...
Yeah, because they're more sensitive.
Okay. But you think this tree looks okay?
Yeah, I think he does.
Okay.
He does. I'd get rid of the...
Yes.
I'd get rid of this scaffolding
yes.
deal.
I think that needs to come out. I think I have a lot of things to get rid of, right?
And then really, I mean, the form of the tree is not bad. What I would do probably in the wintertime, which we can talk, but like these, where this stuff is growing up right through the center.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to, same thing, trying to build a vase.
Yeah.
So where this stuff is growing up through the center, I'd cut these back.
Okay.
To just kind of make sure keep that vase open.
Okay. Keep the center of the tree open. Just
And-
like a rose, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to do
Exactly.
with a rose?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, and then I'm embarrassed to show you this one.
No.
Because this
is-
one is so unhappy.
This is a sick plum,
Sick plum.
or pluot, or aprium, or something. You know, it's one of those. It's got. This is This needs to just go away.
Needs to go. Okay.
Yeah.
I just need to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Right?
It just needs to go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to.
It's
You don't wanna
you don't know.
care
Well,
for
we don't know.
something
We don't know what it. You don't know what variety it is. Don't even know if it's a good variety.
Yeah, I don't want to put
So-
time and energy
Energy,
into
yep.
something that's going to give me
Right.
like
Right.
Right.
one fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
In 5
When
years.
you
Or
could plant something else that
And-
would be much more productive and bring
Absolutely.
you more joy.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another thing I think to consider too is that a sick plum tree like this
Mm-hmm.
is going to bring you billions of aphids
Great.
because they like plum trees, and especially when they're not super healthy.
Okay.
I'm surprised I haven't found any alive on here yet, but yeah. So then if you get the aphids, then where the aphids going to go when the plum, you know, they're
my
going to
plants.
they're going to go everywhere. So
No.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's
All right. So this guy's coming out, and then that group over there is coming out,
Right.
and then I will talk to you about replacements. Well, you already told me a whole bunch of options for replacement. So
yeah.
Good.
And let's put bare root trees in the ground, and away we go.
okay, and like January or February, I would say is the right time to do it. Okay, so
absolutely.
you know I'm going to be bugging you, right? All right, you guys, I just want to say thank you. This was so like I'm going to have to watch this video back like 3 times, you know, especially in the winter once I get my bare roots in. I'm going to link the Kingsgate Ranch website and their Instagram down below. You guys have a Facebook too, right?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
the Facebook still says Jackson Farms.
Oh, it does.
But it's us.
So they were Jackson Farms, and then they just changed to Kingsgate. So anyway, I just want to say a big thank you. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.